Hello, everybody. It's Maikito. It's a pretty large slate tomorrow. There are a lot of games, but it's just MLS. There is the Champions League final. I was going through all the picks. All the lines are pretty sharp, but I did find one that I did like, so I'll just get straight into the picks. And that's Eduardo Camavinga, hired in 3 tackles, playing for Madrid against Dortmund. In his last 5 starts, he's had 3 or more. In his last 4 out of 5, he's a very aggressive player. Usually, I've taken him before, and it's more to do with his fouls and like breaking up the play. But I feel like because it's the final, I don't know if you want to take like he does tactical fouls, and I don't know if he's gonna be doing that this game. So I'd rather go for his tackles. He's gonna be guarding a lot of skillers and passers like Adeyemi, Jaden Sancho, and Julian Brandt. So he's gonna be there to break up the play. He's likely to be playing next to Toni Kroos and Valverde, who Kroos is probably gonna be the one staying back. So he's gonna be with Valverde playing up and down the field, and he's gonna be crucial when it comes to trying to break up the Borussia Dortmund passing and their play and stuff like that. And like I said, he's an aggressive player. I like this. I like it at 3 just because I feel pretty confident that he gets 3. It's just whether he gets that fourth. You can't take it at 3.5. I just like the safety you can get it at 3. So I like Eduardo Camavinga to go higher than 3 tackles. My next pick, it is Christian Benteke, higher than 1.5 shots on target, playing at home for DC United, going up against Toronto. He averages 1.88 shots on target per 90, so close to 2. And when you look at just his shots, he averages 3.2 away from home, and it goes up to 3.9. And I just think she shoots more at home, which is what I like. Obviously, most players do that anyways. Toronto allowed 13.8 shots away from home, which is actually pretty average. It's a little above average, but I'm just mentioning that as well. And I feel like he's going to need to be clinical just because I'm not sure if DC could get those. They take a lot of shots at home, but Toronto's an average defense, so there's always a chance that they only take like maybe 13, 14 shots, and he's their by far their best player this season. He's gonna have to take advantage of them. Toronto are bad at defending set pieces, and Benteke is a set piece threat, so that's already a good matchup for him. He's gone over this mark in his last 3 out of 5 home games, and DC is in bad form defensively, not really offensively, just defensively. So there's a good spot at home against Toronto for them to turn it around. So like Christian Benteke to go higher than 1.5 shots on target. My next pick is Pedro Gallese, higher than 1.5 goals allowed, playing away from home for Orlando, going up against New York Red Bulls. New York has scored 14 goals at home in 6 games, so they average over 2 goals scored at home, while Orlando have conceded 14 goals in 7 away games. So New York averaged 2 scored, while Orlando averaged 2 scored against them. So good for us. And New York has scored 2 or more goals, which is what we need in their last 4 out of 5 games. And then the main reason why is just Orlando's defensive gap at home compared to away. At home, they allow 7.9 shots, which is really good, but they drop all the way down to 15.3, which is a really big gap. And New York, on the other hand, take 11 shots away, but it goes up to 15 at home, so also better for us. And like I said, they average 2 goals scored at home. And Orlando are really weak at defending the through balls, while New York are good at hitting teams off the counter, at playing through balls, and they're good at finishing their chances when they get them. And I think this is a good matchup for New York to take advantage of a really weak Orlando defensive side when they play away from home. Like I said, New York scores 2, Orlando concedes 2. So like Pedro Gallese, higher than 1.5 goals allowed, playing for Orlando. My next pick is on the New York side. It is Emil Forsberg, higher than 2.5 shots. This one is pretty self-explanatory in my opinion. He averages 3 shots taken at home, which is what we need. He takes free kicks. He takes long shots. He is their most experienced player. And like I mentioned, Orlando allowed 15 shots. And he's guaranteed at least 80 minutes. I'm pretty confident that he plays the full 90. He plays because he's good on the ball when it comes to passing and distributing to his teammates, as well as him taking shots. So he averaged 3 at home going against a weak Orlando defense. He'll shoot from anywhere. I just like the matchup. It is Emil Forsberg, higher than 2.5 shots. My next pick is Damion Lowe, lower than 3.5 clearances, playing at home for Philadelphia, going up against Montreal. If you look at his home and away from home, he actually averages 6.8 away, which is really, really high. but at home he only averages 2.3, and that's because Philadelphia are a lot better defensively when they play at home compared to away. And another reason why is because Montreal is really bad offensively when they play away from home. When it comes to long balls, which is teams that just send the ball over the top to try to find their attackers, it's a lot where clearances from defenders come from. And I mentioned that because Montreal are 29 and 29 when it comes to long balls attempted and their hit rate. So it just shows that they don't attack off of long balls, which is just less opportunities for Lowe, which is good for us. And if you look at Montreal opponents when they play away from home and their clearances, 0-2-2 on one game, 0-2-3, 1-2-1, and then next game 1-4-1-0 when they play four backs. I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that in the last 5 away games for Montreal, only one defender out of like 14, 12 defenders, only one has gone over this mark. So Montreal is just not good offensively away from home, and I think there's a good mark for Lowe to go lower than 3.5 clearances. My next pick, it is Bongo Hule, higher than 0.5 shots on target, playing at home for Minnesota, going up against Kansas City. He's played 12 games and has only started 4, and in those throughout, he has taken 8 shots on target, and that averages out to 1.5 shots on target per 90. It's just whether he starts the game or not, and I think he will. When you look at last season, he played every single game last season, and he only came off the bench in 1 out of 30 games. So he was actually a really good, one of their best players last season, other than Pookie. And when last season, he averaged 1.3 shots on target per 90, and he's playing at home. So if he starts, this is a really good mark. I like this. Kansas City are weak against skillers, and they're weak against wingers, which is exactly what he is. They actually played once earlier this season, and he came off the bench and played the full second half. So he played one half of the game, and he had 1 shot on target in there. In that 45 minutes. So as long as he starts, he easily cleared this mark. So I like him to go higher than 0.5 shots on target. And my last player prop, it is Ivasic, higher than 1.5 goals allowed, playing away from home for New England, going up against Nashville. England have conceded 14 goals in 6 away games, so they concede over 2 per game. And Nashville have scored 15 goals in 9 home games, so they average about 1.4, 1.5. They definitely score 1. It's whether they score that second, and I think they will, because New England are one of the worst defensive teams away from home. They allow 18.5 shots away from home, which is really, really high. I think the worst, definitely top 3 worst throughout the full league, 29 teams. And main reason why, they also have Mukhtar, arguably one of the best players last season in the MLS, and he's good at creating chances, he's good at scoring goals, and I just mentioned him because they have a good quality player, which a lot of MLS teams don't seem to have, like a star player, but they do. And Nashville play on the wings, and they like to play long balls and through balls, which is what New England is bad at defending. They're bad at defending counterattacks against players off the wing, and they're bad at defending through balls. So it's just another good matchup for Nashville to take advantage of a really weak New England defense. So like Ivasic to go higher than 1.5 goals allowed. I mentioned this in the last video, and I'll mention it again. When it comes to the player props, those are more for fantasy apps like Underdog and Price Picks, and then the money lines are specifically for those that are on like Sportsbook, because you can get some of these player props on Sportsbook, but you can't get all of them. So I specifically make money lines for those that are on Sportsbook, because I know people ask me, I can't find this on my Sportsbook, what should I take, or if I should take this or that. That's just, like I said, I specifically do the money lines for those that are on Sportsbook, and the player props for those that are on fantasy apps like Underdog and Price Picks. When it comes to money lines, I know some people are going to ask me as well what I think when it comes to the Champions League finals. Obviously, Dortmund are the underdogs when it comes to it, and a lot of people are rooting for them, and it's really not only to root for Dortmund, it's also to root against Madrid. But for those that don't know, Real Madrid are actually undefeated in the Champions League final. Whenever they've made it to the final, they have never lost a game, so it could go either way if you want. Like, obviously Dortmund are the underdogs, but Madrid are just Madrid in the Champions League, and you can't really go against them. So I didn't want to pick one team or the other or anything like that, but I did find some MLS ones, Major League Soccer in the US, that I did like. My first one is the FC New York money line against San Jose Earthquakes. They've won 5 out of 8 at home, while San Jose have lost 6 out of 8 games away from home, and they actually have the worst away defense away from home. They've conceded 21 goals in 8 games, and New York have conceded 8 and 8. So there's always the chance that San Jose scores, which I think they will. But I think New York will outscore them. And New York play off the counter and are good at defending the lead. San Jose are definitely going to concede, and if New York score first, I think they're going to be good at holding the lead. I feel like it's going to come down to defense, and San Jose are bad at defending counterattacks. New York, like I said, I think it's going to really come down to New York defense, whether they can hold the lead against San Jose. And while San Jose do score away from home, like I said, they've conceded 21 and 8. That's almost 3 goals scored against them away from home. And New York are good at defending set pieces, where San Jose rely on. A lot of their goals come from set pieces like corners and free kicks and stuff like that. So the way that San Jose score is what New York is good at defending at. And San Jose are bad defensively away. So I think it's a good matchup. So I like the New York money line against San Jose. My next one is the Nashville money line against New England. I talked about them earlier. I think Nashville are going to score 2. And you can take the money line just because if they, I think they're going to score 2. And if they score 2, they definitely win. I'm just taking the money line just because there's always the chance that they only score 1 or something like that. They've won 3 games at home, drawn 5, and lost 1. So they've only lost 1. It's just whether they can get that into a win at home. They scored 15 goals at home and conceded 10. So like I said, it's just whether they outscore New England. And I think they will, because not only is New England bad in the defense away, they're really bad in the attack. They've lost 5 out of 6 games away from home, and mainly not only because of their defense, because they've conceded 14 goals in 6 games, but they've only scored 5 goals in 6 away games. So their attack is already bad, defense also bad as well. So another good matchup for Nashville. It's just for them to outscore New England, which I think they will. I don't even know if New England can even score 1. And Nashville will definitely score 1. I think they're going to score 2. Like I said, if they score that second, they'll definitely win. So I like the Nashville money line against New England Revolution. And my the last prop that I like when it comes to money lines is the over 2.5 goals for the Vancouver Whitecaps versus the Colorado game. Vancouver have gone over this mark in 5 out of 7 home games, which is a 71% hit rate, while Colorado have gone over this mark in 7 out of 9 away games. That's a 78% hit rate, so really good hit rate for both teams, home and away. And Vancouver play with width, and they like to score when it comes to individual skill, when like Brian White, and they just have good players that can like create their own chances and stuff like that. While Colorado are weak against skillers, their defense is bad. And when it comes to Vancouver's defense, they are bad at defending through balls, which is where Colorado likes to play. They like to play through balls, and Colorado's also good at finishing their chances that they get. Both teams score a lot. Both teams are bad defensively. So I just think both, like the one that I had last time with the Portland game, I think both teams can score 1 for sure. It's just who gets that second. It's likely to be Vancouver, but I just like the odds of just taking the higher 2.5 goals. So I like the higher than 2.5 goals for the Vancouver versus Colorado game. Thank you everybody for watching. When it comes to the Champions League game, when lineups are confirmed, they add more props and stuff like that. So I feel like I'll likely have at least 1 play that I'll add when it comes to the Champions League tomorrow before kickoff. So you can always come back to the video and check the description about an hour or maybe like 30 minutes before the game or something like that. I might add more. And then when it comes to the last video, I think I had a lot of hooks. It wasn't that good of a day, honestly. I had a couple that hit. I know Buwan got higher than 1.5 shots hit and stuff like that, but like Messi higher than 4.5. He ended with 4. He hooked on us. So I like these plays more. I'm still trying to get used to the MLS reads and how MLS teams play. But other than that, I hope everybody has a good night and a good day, and we can cash out tomorrow.